How should I choose a mastering engineer?
The best way to choose a mastering engineer is basically by looking at his or her track record and making sure that the projects that they've worked on over the years have met with success throughout society and throughout the world of music. Well, I'm definitely a proven commodity. I've been mastering and doing only mastering work for over 33 years. And if you look on the website, you'll see a good number of the projects that I've worked on, either as a full mastering engineer or as a vinyl cutting engineer. And the list is long, and it's got names on it that you'll probably recognize. So you can be sure that if I was able to cut successfully for the Flaming Lips or Mariah Carey or Madonna, or if I was able to master for Jay-Z or for Maroon 5 or the Rolling Stones, that I'll probably do a pretty good job on your project as well. And I think that's something you can count on, and it gives you a certain amount of surety and a secure feeling that I'm not coming at this the first time. Well, it's kind of funny at this point in my endeavor, I can pretty much hear in my head where I want to go with the project when I first put it on, as long as things are consistent, or even if they're not consistent, actually. If I can hear in my head what I'm trying to get to, then I have all the choices of the different ways to get there. I really feel that when somebody sends a project to me, I'm their new best friend. I'm only there to try to optimize and get the best possible sound out of the master tape that is sent to me. That's what it comes down to. You know, it comes down to me being there to assist the client. And anything that I do would get the client's approval before it goes out there into the world. So it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a cooperative. It's a cooperative kind of venture where I'm working directly with a client, and although we might not be in the same room together, we're working from the same baseline, the same master tape, and it's just a series of decisions that I make as to what sounds good to me, and then I get that okayed by my client, and that way I'm sure that what sounds good to me also sounds good to him. Versatility is the name of the game when you deal with mastering. You know, I have to be able to deal with every kind of music under the sun, because I never know from moment to moment and day to day what's going to show up here and what people will send me. And that's one of the really good things about my mastering, if I can say so, is that I'm really adept at all styles of music. Everything from Japanese rap music to classical, strong and rock and roll, jazz, bluegrass, anything that you come up with, I'm sure I can handle. As a mastering engineer, I'm not allowed to have limitations as far as what I listen to. You know, I'm just not allowed. You can be a mastering engineer, I suppose, and specialize in one kind of music or another, and you know, you can probably function in the world and get enough jobs and you know, be the big fish in a small pond. But I'd rather have a much bigger pond to swim in. You know. And it makes things interesting for me if right next to each other in sequence, I do a hip-hop project and a rock and roll project and a jazz project, and have them come up, you know, one right after the other, and allow me to shift gears and not feel stale or bored or you know, overexposed to one type of music or another. Also, another thing is, I really like, I didn't expect that I would like getting plunged into a situation where I was dealing with a kind of music that was completely alien to me. But as it turned out, I like it. You know, it's good stuff. You know, it's good when you can come upon something that you don't know anything about, reach a level of satisfaction such that the client is happy with your work, and so it must, at that point, adhere to whatever sonic signature that type of music is supposed to have. And you sort of come up with an idea in your head, and if it's right and if it works for the client and if it is successful on the charts and perhaps makes enough money for the client to finance the next project and come back to you, that's a real feather in your cap, and I think it's a real accomplishment. Basically, when I bring my music to the world and it goes out there, it's no longer me in a studio and a pair of monitors and a quiet environment. It's a loud environment, and it's living, and it's breathing, and it matters to people, and that matters to me. I mean, on a very selfish level, I have had some of the music that I've mastered turn up on the radio. I'm driving along in the car and hear something that I've mastered, and it pops on the radio, and I think I'm just as excited to hear that as the guys in the group might be to have a #1 record or something like that. I've heard my music be played at Yankee Stadium or at the Super Bowl. When I work on a project in the studio, I'm working in private, and it's myself and my machines and the music that's on the stereo, and I sometimes lose touch with the fact that it's not just me and the band, it's what happens to it afterwards, and people dance to this stuff, and it affects them, and they listen to it and it means something to them. And I feel very happy that I'm able to contribute, whatever art I can bring to the project that will make people happy all over the world, be it in Ibiza at a electronic dance music concert, or in Yankee Stadium where the crowd's going crazy because somebody just hit a home run, and what pops on the PA system but a song that I mastered, and it's just great. It's great stuff. It's what makes it all worthwhile in some ways, Going to live performances really helps in terms of mastering because I have to have some point of reference. A live performance is, in my mind, a musician talking to the audience. And I have to be able to use the same voice when I'm doing my mastering in terms of talking to the audience as that musician does on stage. If I can make the experience live the way a live music performance is, then I've done my job. Trust me. That's what I ask. I ask for a trusting relationship between the client and myself, and if the client is uncertain as to where they want to go, I'll give it my best shot, and I will bring to bear all of my experience and all of my tools, and at that point try to give them a picture of what I think the project should be, send it off to them, and see if we agree. And if usually I'm on the same page, if not the exact paragraph, I mean, that's the way it all starts. I can give them an idea of where I think the project should go, and then I would take it there and see if that works for them.